Hey, you're watching the UpstreamLife.com. I'm the founder and editor, Vishal. Krishna. My guest today is Rohan Shenoy. He is an entrepreneur at construction tech company Sanveo, which is based in California, of course. He's going to talk about what it means to be a Proptech entrepreneur. He's going to talk about construction tech. He's going to talk about the difference between real estate and construction. He's going to talk about the opportunity of real estate and construction in India and Southeast Asia and the globe, of course. He's going to talk about how tech has played a vital role in making this industry as large as it is. You will also learn about his passion for working with entrepreneurs. And this is the interview for you if you want to build a construction tech or a prop tech company. By the way, this interview is brought to you by Finverse.guru, a financial upskilling and reskilling app. If you are a finance student, or forget finance, you could be even an engineer or an architect. You can still want to learn about finance, and Finverse.guru does that for you. Go download that app today, but enjoy this interview about the construction tech industry with Rohan. Rohan, how are you?
I'm doing well, Vishal. How are you?
It's great to see an entrepreneur sitting in my studio simply because you're the early prop tech entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Right? You had a wonderful journey. Now, obviously, you're the director of operations of Sanveo, a larger MNC.
Yeah.
And super congratulations to you on that.
Thank you.
I wanted to talk about that entrepreneurial journey. It was in prop tech. So how tough was it? It was called BuildInn at the time.
Yeah.
Right. What's changed about PropTech then and now is something that you have to answer.
Okay.
But talk about your journey. You're also an award-winning architect.
Yeah. Great. Thanks a lot for inviting me here, first of all, Vishal. Journey for me has been quite uncertain. I don't think so it is planned for anyone. Life just happens to us. It's just that now I'm in my 30s and it's more structured and organized and I'm a bit focused now. So it was not a prop tech company that I started. It was a construction tech company, actually.
Yeah,
so,
we have to talk about the difference.
Yeah, there's a lot of difference.
Difference between real estate and construction.
Yeah, they're poles apart. Apart. So I was an architect in Malaysia. I came down to India. I started my company. So it was a marketplace for construction, actually to be interior specifically. We used to provide skilled workforce to homeowners. And I started it in Bangalore. For about 5 years, we had made around 2 million revenue. No, it was completely bootstrapped, did not seek any funding, and grew organically. But end of 5th year, we couldn't scale, and lack of funding, we concluded failure, and that's when the pandemic had happened. I took a sabbatical, and then I started researching more on what I wanted to do. Then I grew organically again. I started working in one company, and right now I'm an entrepreneur. So I take care of operations for a construction technology company based out of US. This is called Sanveo. So Sanveo, what we usually do there is we facilitate services and products in the digital space for construction in the US. Currently, we are catering to the US market, the North American market to be specific, but we have operations across the globe.
Okay, I wanted to ask you, you've nicely put in your journey from difficulties of running a startup at the time to the pandemic.
Yeah.
You also took a break to study,
yes,
right, which helped you, and you also worked in the startup ecosystem in between.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Why, now the difference, when you talk about prop tech, when you talk about real estate, you're saying we have to differentiate a few things.
Yes,
right?
Yes. Yeah.
The fact that real estate in the USA means selling a property.
Yes.
It also means, if you say construction, you're in a manufacturing.
Yeah.
In India, we look at everything real estate and infrastructure separately. Right?
Yes, that's because India has a lot of conglomerates. The same company or the same entity usually is having a complete sourcing to building to selling platform under one roof. It's more defined in the West. So usually prop tech or real tech, it's called today. Real estate is nothing but you're trading a commodity. So that space is a commodity. It could be an empty space or a constructed space. But construction or the construction technology where we are leading to today, this is more of a manufacturing process of that space. So you are more like a manufacturing industry over here. Although I call it manufacturing, still there's a lot of difference because manufacturing is something you're doing by keeping a set of target market in place and you're doing it in mass. But construction is one-off in nature. You finalize who is the client first, and then you manufacture it. And no two buildings, you reverse back the complete process. And no two structures or no two buildings can be identical, and you can't produce it or scale it in that way. You can't multiply it. That's because, see, suppose you want to build a bridge in Bangalore, and you want to build the same bridge in Mysore. It is not possible because you have two geotechnical, as in the complete geological conditions are different. The soil conditions are different. The climatological conditions are different. So the specifications of every structure gets changed. So it's a one-off point solution-driven market.
Okay, that's right. Now, I want to come down to Sanveo now. Obviously, it's a leading company in terms of working with general contractors.
Yeah.
In India, contractors don't have that kind of power. The companies mostly do, right? But in the US, Sanveo works with these general contractors.
Yes.
First, tell us what Sanveo does, because we also talked about reverse engineering a process. And this technology can help in materials a lot more. You have to give me the entire thought process on what Sanveo does, and then I'll talk about the opportunity in Indian real estate. It's huge. It's what people say, it's going to be a $1 trillion market by 2030.
It's more than that. It's more than that.
Right? So my thoughts are these: is Sanveo a tech company or much more than that, or is it a platform?
I'll go with my monologue here for some time.
Please go on. I don't mind your monologue.
So I will actually explain you what exactly the construction technology ecosystem is in three parts. So first, I'll tell you about what exactly the construction or construction technology space is, or the digitalization space is. Second, why do we need digitization? And third, how the future will look like in the US and India globally. So construction itself, like you rightly said earlier, it's catering to nearly 13% of the global GDP. And it's a $10 trillion per annum market. Now, although the market is so big, still it comes with a lot of problems. The top three problems in construction segment would be uncertainty across value chain, then skilled labor shortage, and the entire process generates a lot of waste, which is harmful to the environment. This is where companies like Sanveo, like a construction technology company, comes into picture, where we increase efficiency and the productivity gets increased by providing technological solutions. So you don't have to always look at a conventional, traditional ways of solving a problem. There are technological advancements happening in all other industries. And construction is a very nascent market. One of the core services what we provide is called as BIM. BIM is nothing but an acronym for Building Information Modeling. So it's a very simple modeling services, but today it is a highly digital collaborative process. So what exactly happens is there would be one cloud-based model where multiple stakeholders involved in the construction are working together. They are collaborating and working. So imagine a large-scale project like a metro railway corporation usually would take 3 years for planning. That can be done in 6 months today because everyone is working.
Time and money saved also.
And now the construction industry itself is a whole huge universe amongst itself. Now within that universe, there are multiple constellations. Digital constellations, I can say today.
Give me, what are those digital constellations?
See, there are three rapidly growing digital constellations within that. One is the marketplace for labor, materials and construction equipments. I had a marketplace in Bangalore. Then there is robotics and prefabrication, the modularization market where you manufacture somewhere else and install it at site. And third is the digital twin. This is something trending that you should know.
Everybody talks about
it. Digital twin is nothing but you have an existing structure which has been used or built with primitive measures. But today you want to scan that and you want to convert it into a digital model. So you can use lasers and drones and you can simulate and you can convert that into a BIM model. So now BIM is like a core of data management for all these services. So without the visual data, you cannot really run a marketplace.
So it's like, I'm glad earlier when we were talking, you said it's like a game where different people collaborate.
Yes.
So there's a foundation laid.
Yes.
And then I know what goes where. Each of us are working together, like plumbing, electrical and whatnot.
Yes.
Right? And everything shows up in that digital model.
Yes. Now because of this, you can save cost, you can drive efficiency, and you can reduce a lot of risks in the industry, which directly saves a lot of cost at the global economy level. Now, why digitization is needed, if I would say?
Yeah, that's the most important question, because the objective of this podcast is to say, where can India go with this?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And how India can lead the
Yes.
Proptech or real estate or construction tech industry, right?
Definitely.
That's what I want to know.
Definitely. I would like to tell you about that. India is also an emerging BIM market.
Yes.
Okay. There is an Indian BIM association, and they are working towards educating people, and they have a lot of programs as well that is empowering construction professionals to lead in the BIM direction. So BIM has its own version of itself in India too, in the Indian interior
Only in the
segment.
interior space. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's there in large scale space as well. For example, L&T has built the recent Bangalore airport implementing BIM. There is Maruti Suzuki production plant that is built in Gujarat using BIM.
They probably work with these these tools are internally built by them, or they outsource.
See, there it depends. So, like I told you, BIM is a process. Tools could be multiple. You could use any particular tool to model and capture data. And how you monetize this data is up to you. Everyone has their own version.
I want to ask you, this is a very interesting thought process that you brought into my head, right? Why do people in the architectural domain, like interiors and all that, they use BIM type modeling a lot more than the general contractors in our country? Why is that? Is one is expensive? Of course, you've told me this.
Yes. See, now I will tell you. The need for technology, digitization in the US is different. It's a need for an hour there. Now, US bipartisan law says that nearly 500 billion worth of projects would be invested in the next 10 years.
Yes.
And there are about 40% of the skilled workforce retiring in the next 10 years. There's already a 500K shortage of labor. So imagine over 10 years, we'll have 5 million labor shortage. That's where you have to leverage technology. You have to use robotics. You have to enhance. That's why government mandates BIM. So technology should replace the lack of labor supply there. So this is the need for an hour there. You go to US, in the valley you will see robots delivering Uber Eats.
I've seen that.
But that is practically not possible here because you have abundance of skilled workforce. So the digitization is contextual.
But building a digital twin is always going to be advantageous to me as a builder or a contractor, right?
Yes, yes. See, I will tell you why. In the end of the day, government and economies play a huge role in these places. What happens is, especially in the UK today, if you are not a level 2 BIM modeler or a level 2 contractor, you cannot lay your hands on any of the government projects. And this is the case in the US, China,
like
Scandinavia.
System where you're an L1 company, but you need to be technically superior.
Superior, yes. And why this happens is because nearly 20 to 30% of the projects in these countries are public driven. Now, when you have public projects, which is catering to 20 to 30% of the economy of their GDP, now, when you implement BIM, even if 5 to 10% of savings happen, so just imagine for a $10 trillion global market, how much of a saving is happening? Or even say for a $1 to $5 trillion of their country respective continental markets. There's a lot of huge costing saving.
And also, like you said, what takes 3 years can be done in 6 months.
Yes,
and
yes.
What is interesting is the amount you can add to the economy because projects are completed on time.
Yes, yes. See, whenever there is a savings in the production cost, automatically what happens, the supply curve in economics shifts to the right, creating a new equilibrium, and hence automatically the job opportunities increases and a lot of demand also increases in that space, and the economies get shared between multiple countries as well. Skill labor, yes.
That's interesting. I mean, the fact that you say that this is the BIM model, right?
Yeah.
So that's the reason why you're saying people should invest in it. Yeah. Are we getting there though?
Yes, very much. See, the SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, one of the reports I read from there, the one which got shut, I think this was before they got shut, they wrote that nearly 11 billion of money has been invested in construction technology in the last 2 years. And out of that, 80% is in the US. Now, see, this is the beauty of it. US has a lot of offshore operations, especially in the East with India and Philippines. Now, when someone is investing that much of money and you have your operational base everywhere, automatically the funding also gets diverted and distributed, and you grow that economy as well. So, yes, you are indirectly catering to another market and growing your own economy there as well.
Okay. Now, as head of the India business, where do you want to take this idea? And you also are going to take it to Southeast Asian markets, or you're already present in those markets?
Southeast Asia, like I said, Japan is already having penetration, and Korea is having major BIM penetration. Singapore, I'm sure, will implement. It's a small country. For them, it doesn't take much time to implement this. Slowly, we are leading there. And I told you, BIM has its own version, and it has its own purpose to bring out efficiency. So,
talking about efficiency, I'll tell you what. I suddenly realized that in the old days, everyone, when I say old days, just 10 years ago, Google talked about these Google Lens that'll come and you look at the building and you can X-ray the building and you'll know what is where. You guys had already done it. In a sense, you could do it with 3D modeling today.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And that's what you're talking about. Today, somebody can just come, a contractor, even if the building is built, can just look at an headset and find out, wear a headset, and find out what's been done. And that's built by the BIM, right?
Yes. So what you see, the headset or the VR or the augmented reality Oculus is nothing but it's an output medium.
Okay.
But the data in that medium is what we build.
From you guys.
Yes.
Right. Okay. 2-3 things. So, will India go the general contractor way like in the US, or will it be its own hybrid here?
I don't really know. See, India is a rapidly growing market. I told you that I worked at an interior tech company for quite some time. And you won't believe, if you are a customer and you have a floor plan and you walk into this interior tech companies, okay, you will walk out within an hour with a 3D model and a quote.
So they already have some form of BIM.
Yes. Now, practically 10 years back, this was not possible. You should have waited at least for a week to get a design and a quote. But today you're walking out of a showroom in an hour. So what is happening here is companies are capturing that first moment of truth of marketing using BIM. Now, if a customer zeroes in after having a good experience, zeroes in and says that, yes, I want to go with this particular company, they use the same model and the same CRM integrated software to finish the production, installation, and even collect the final feedback from customer on the same tool. So imagine a customer is having that end 0 to 100 journey on one tool. So that FMOT, the second moment of truth, and the ultimate moment of truth, everything is captured on one tool. So I would say that India is already there. They are leading in a direction of BIM, and it has its own rapidly growing versions.
Because when you talk about construction, it is so complicated. Like you mentioned, there's hundreds of vendors.
Yeah.
Right, and all their data has to sit in one place for the collaboration.
Yes.
And that's what you guys are enabling today. No?
Yes, we are enabling that.
Right, and how fast does the collaboration happen? Like the electrical guy, the plumbing guy, do they understand that, okay, they know exactly where to put things in?
Yeah. No, see, it's quite simple in the West, in the US right now, because standardization is prioritized. It's more customized and standardized, and people prefer constructability more than aesthetics. They say that form
aesthetic model that I need it this way.
Yeah.
The owner of the property says I need it this way.
Yes. In architecture, it's called as form follows function. So your constructability and practicality is more important. So you replicate things that are easy to build and mass manufacture.
Got it.
Now, generally, what happens when you design a structure or you facilitate BIM? There are different stakeholders doing their part. Now, once all these things are merged, there is an output driven by dividing that one entire model into small modules or small grids. And these grids are manufactured at a factory level in a prefab stage, and everything will have its own SKUs, will have its own QR, so that the assembly person can just scan the SKU and just keep assembling.
Okay. For me, this tool, Sanveo, I think it makes sense for a CFO. You know why?
Yes.
So as a finance guy taking decisions, if my tech team comes and tells me that this is how I can save money, because the timeline to building something or completing a project is faster. How important is it for guys to, in the obviously general contractor has to know his finances, but will his team also understand that by using your tool, they can plan their finances better?
Definitely. Now,
because you also have a marketplace model where I can order things.
Yes. See, BIM is a service industry, and it is a service industry because of its perishable nature. But that BIM data is not perishable. Now, with that data, you can build a lot of products. One such product that we have is AC Inspire. So this is nothing but a tool, a SaaS-based product that can build comprehensive bill of materials from the 3D models. So a contractor can directly place order from the manufacturers with the data that they have. So imagine, it's so fast. And as a CFO, what you generally see for a product market, there are 3 metrics they usually check to see the health of a product.
Yes.
What would it be? It would be LTV by CAC. Today it's very popular. The lifetime value over the customer acquisition. And then there is revenue. And then they look at DAUs, MAUs, and weekly active users, and how many active users are there. Now, I from a service industry, or a CFO who is from a service industry, I will look at these matrices a little differently. What I would do is, instead of LTV over CAC, I will look at customer carrying cost and NPS. Because my project life cycle is long, I would see how at different intervals of projects, how much CCC or customer carrying cost I'm spending. And what is the NPS at every stage I'm getting. So I want to know the emotions of a customer at different stages of the construction or the BIM process. And instead of revenue, I would say revenue per employee, because I keep telling efficiency. It's a human-driven market. In the end of the day, there are humans working on modeling.
Yeah.
So for me, revenue per employee is important. And instead of just active users, daily users, I would see active users over the total number of users. It's called as activation rate. So why I would see this is because in the end of the day, I want to know what are those active users in that product doing that is generating revenue for me.
In the long run.
On the long run.
That's how the BIM comes in.
That's how the BIM comes into.
So it's also a finance, so the finance role is very important to take this product.
It is very important, Vishal. But as a leader, I'll tell you today, with today's context, if I'm a finance person or an executive at any level in a company, I have certain other matrices that I evaluate to see the health of a company. I don't know if I have told you this story. I had worked with a sustainable business management firm for a very short time in my career. So it's called Sustain Labs Paris. Minya Chatterjee is the director of that company.
She teaches in a design school.
Yes. So I had met her during my fellowship. So when I worked there, she mentored us and trained us in certain frameworks which revolved around resource efficiency, then financial stability, social entrepreneurship, clean revenue, and inclusive supply chain. Now, these parameters, we used it and we worked on a project which was rating top 200 companies in India. And this project was in association with Business World. I think you had worked with Business World for quite some time. Yeah. So do you know this edition that is coming? They're rating India's most sustainable companies.
Which is great, right?
Yeah.
So that's how BIM comes in there too, no?
Not really. What I'm trying to say over here is, when I worked on that project, and I understood that you are evaluating a business based on empathy and inclusivity, not really looking at the financial aspect of it.
You're basically also saying that regardless of the tools you use,
yes,
there's a certain level of like you said, ESG is something that you cannot model onto a tool.
Yes,
it should come from the.
It should come from within. It should come from within.
The values of the founders of building, or from the general contractors of the companies that are in real estate. That's very interesting.
Yes.
So you learned all that.
I learned all that, and after working there, when I went to various other organizations, I used to implement these frameworks and these KPIs. Believe me or not, Vishal, not only I was able to handle attrition and mental health of people, but I was able to grow revenue to 2x.
So now I got it. So even if you have a BMI tool, you need to know your foundation to actually execute. And that's where the BMI really helps. If you know how to use the data around
Yes.
Okay, that's where the CFO plays a major role. I got it.
Very much.
Thank you for that information on how CFOs can use, building intelligence modeling, or BIM as we call it. I now want to talk about your personal journey, because you went from being entrepreneur to entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And at Sanveo, what can we expect from Sanveo? Does it have an Indian team?
Oh, yes. Actually, we have a large team operating from India itself. Okay. And in fact, from various parts of India, there are multiple teams and multiple offices. Okay. So mainly what happens here is the core modeling services app happen from here. And we also have a tech team that is developing products. Now, these are not the products that I was talking to you earlier about. These products are built to enhance the efficiency of the services. So we build products for our internal operations as well. So life has been great for me as an entrepreneur. You know it, that I had a product company and a tech company.
Yeah, it's very difficult in India also at that time. Because you were very early. Right? And so as an entrepreneur, how has life changed for you?
See, as an entrepreneur, what I used to do, I had to wear multiple hats. I had to take care of the marketing, I had to take care of sales, I had to take care of operations, the delivery. And it was a small team based out of one city. Today, what I'm doing, I'm still wearing multiple hats. I have to wear a general manager hat where I have to drive operational excellency. Then I have to wear a technologist hat where I have to drive products and services, and I have to optimize those services. Then I have to wear the exploratory hat. This is something which is my archetype, to be honest, where I have to know where the market is, what is the TAM, and where are we placing ourselves in that market? How are we building a brand essence around it? So as an entrepreneur also, I'm juggling between these multiple hats under one umbrella and still doing what I used to do earlier. It's just that today I'm doing it on a larger scale.
Great. Yeah. Great to know. My final thoughts and questions will be on Proptech in India. Yeah. Is it a great opportunity to be a Proptech entrepreneur? Is it great time to be in real estate in India? I know it's all big deals in the infrastructure side.
Yes.
In the real estate side, we saw RERA come in and change things.
Yeah.
So in the construction real estate industry, where are we going? That's one. And my final questions are about books and advice to people out there.
Okay.
Music. I know you're a musician yourself. You're a very good drummer. Because I have jammed with you in the studio, and so I'm going to put it out there.
Okay,
right?
Sure.
And so you have to tell me about your life. But before that, the opportunity in India.
Well, India has a lot of opportunities. Real estate in India, yes, has been stagnant for quite some time, but that is more on the residential side. But the commercial and the industrial and the educational construction, the institutionalized construction space is going to boom. There is a lot of foreign investments also coming. You don't just need VC funds anymore, or you don't need to take bank debts anymore. There are governments and private equity firms all over the world investing in India. So India is definitely a great place to be. And the way digital transformation has happened in multiple verticals in India, especially the fintech side and even the healthcare side and the commodity side, it is just e-commerce is just booming in India. So I'm sure the penetration in the construction space also will be the next big thing. So I believe that there is going to be a lot of space and a lot of opportunities over here. And I also feel that a lot of foreign trades are also going to happen because we are already doing, we are also already interdependent on skilled trades. So I feel Indian companies also will start having global presence. For example, what Zoho is doing today or what Lead Square is doing today, they are, who are the majority of the customers? It is the West.
Right.
So I believe that we will have a lot of companies.
India for the world kind of
India
thing.
For the world, definitely.
Okay, interesting. So that's great news for the product entrepreneurs out there. Anybody from India wants to go global, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Coming down to the personal story, and that's my last thing. You're a drummer.
Yeah.
Firstly, what took you to drumming? Why did you become a drummer? You're a pretty good drummer. So.
Honestly, what inspired me to take music was I had a friend. I have a friend, sorry. He used to play guitar and he was my neighbor. And he used to always play music. And I used to go to his place and tap on my feet. And we used to just randomly make up music. Over time, I realized that I could relate to music and it was easy for me to play percussions. And rock has always been the boom in Bangalore. So Bangalore has been the rock capital. So it was easy to get inspired with other bands and learn from great drummers in Bangalore. So I played drums for quite some time. And after my college, in fact, there was a time where I had to choose either to become a musician or pursue my career in construction.
But you obviously took to
yes. It was like choose one kind of situation. I took the one for construction.
Did music change your life?
Music definitely changed my life. I became creative. Although I am more of an organized management person, I still have that one creative side of mine, which makes me empathize with a lot of factors.
So the drummer keeps time, and he's the one who holds the band. He or she holds the band together.
Yes.
And so that's great. You mentioned that you can be organized and structured, but music teaches you to experiment a little more.
Yes,
right?
Quite a lot. In fact, if you are listening to the 70s, 80s, and even the 60s music, it's more original and experimental. So you and it has evolved over time. So if you have been listening to that evolution, a part of you is because of music.
Do you get time to practice anymore?
Not really, but I would love to make time for it. I have started many other new hobbies. So I've been traveling. I'm a diver. I'm an open water diver. I go to different places and I dive.
What level?
And I have water advanced certification.
So how deep is that?
So up
feet?
to 90 meters.
That's how many meters? I don't know.
It's a 90 into 3.
Okay, well, that's a lot, man.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's 270 kind of thing.
Yes, more than that.
270 feet?
Yes.
Wow, that's a long way down there.
Yeah.
And that requires you to manage your breathing and all that differently.
Yeah, quite a lot. And apart from that, I also read books. You mentioned about books earlier.
Yeah. What do you read?
Lately, I've been reading a book called Daily Startup and Coffee by Sarthak Ahuja. He's one of my mentor too. He is my finance teacher, and I've learned quite a lot from him. So this speaks more about modern business finance, and this also talks about how you need to address yourself in the market and what exactly are the parameters you need to look from which particular industry you are. So I'm quite impressed with that book.
And I'm impressed that you, Rohan, have grown from entrepreneur to entrepreneur and doing much more. I'm sure there's lots of lovely things from the property side you're going to do. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And
I'm
the
very
future
happy.
is about Proptech, huh?
Yeah, it's the tech.
It's technology, everything. Well said. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.